Hey, welcome back to Janky Puzzles, the home of vintage jigsaw puzzles. You know, the ones you find at thrift stores, yard sales, and in the waiting room of your grandparents' old folks' homes. We take a look at all things old puzzles, and if you recall in our last episode, which I'll put right here, entitled Rest in Peace Black Friday, this is a follow-up of sorts, kind of a part two, which I hadn't intended, but I had a little bit more to say and some fun things to talk about since that. So, if you recall from our first episode, I talked about the history of Black Friday and how it actually came about partly from a phenomenon that would happen in Philadelphia, and also just straight marketing that became a thing that it is today. And I spent 24 and a half of years of my life working at Walmart, preparing for Black Friday every single year. I saw it go from insane, just utter insanity, to kind of what it is now. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. Very fun. I recently came across some footage of some Black Friday shopping in the thing. I'll find that footage and I'll link to that web page, the YouTube page, in the description to this, because fascinating raw footage from different eras, different time periods of just shopping in stores and just being places and places to be. And if you recall from the Black Friday Rest in Peace video, one of the puzzles I did was Harvest Still Life by Whitman. And I talked about why this kind of aesthetic I like it. I really, really do, but it just has a different meaning for me than it might other people, because there was so much stress associated with this. And now that I've been out of the retail game for about 5 years now, it's kind of brought in, it's kind of a renewed feeling. Oh, the little kitties are being loud. Of course they are. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I thought, well, let's follow that up. You know, what's a good Thanksgiving meal without seconds? So let's do some seconds, and then I'll talk about my experience this year with Black Friday, because it was actually kind of fun, kind of quaint. So I did another Whitman, because let's just keep with the theme, right? So I did another Whitman puzzle, and this one was interesting. Smaller. This was a 500 piece puzzle, so I'll set that right there. This one's smaller, 304 pieces, which same style though, 2 out, 2 in pieces. But this one was a little bit different. For one, the pieces were more wackadoo than this. I basically just misspoke. They're a little bit more, not quite as wackadoo as a Springbok, but a little bit more fun and challenging than just a straight 2 up, 2 down display. I would probably put this, it'd be hard going side by side, because neither one of these had dates on it. But this one was series 168, and this one was from series 232. So this one is a little bit older than this one, and that kind of checks out just based on the style and the picture and just whatever. What I really like about vintage puzzles is nowadays, now there has been a resurgence of like really cool puzzles. There's a lot of really neat ones out there, but if you go to a store, like say a Walmart store or Target or whatever, and if you look at the puzzle section, it's boring. I'll be honest. It's really boring. Every puzzle's the same size. Every box is the same size. They're all white. They're all libraried in, and they'll have just a little picture of the image, the brand, and then big letters on the top, the piece count, which is usually 2,000, 1,000, 750, 5, and 100, and 300 and 100, depending. So, but back in the day, puzzles were kind of all over the place, and it's actually really fun to find an old vintage one that's so specific with their piece count. 304 pieces. That's pretty specific. Fun fact. Most of the new puzzles that you see, they'll say like 500 pieces. If you count the pieces, they're off. They're not always straightforward. Try that next time. Just see. Because sometimes if you count a new puzzle, the pieces aren't this. It's not 500 pieces or whatever the box says. Anyway, so the older puzzles that have the interesting piece count numbers, I always find really cool. So this one I thought was a good, second, so to speak. And this is called Country Road. And it's very, if you saw, and I'll link it right here, our very first episode was a puzzle from Guild, and it was some barns in Vermont, Orange, Vermont. And a part of me thought that this was that same barn. I really looked at it, and it's not the same barn, but I'm willing to guess that this probably is from New England. New England just lends itself to puzzle, to nature, rustic-y puzzles for some reason. Lots of foliage. I don't know, just very cool. And this one was fun too because it's definitely a fall one. Good way to wrap up fall as we come into winter. So let's just get to it. And it was also missing some pieces. And I'll just show you. And I'll take some good pictures. So this is kind of a throwback. This is how we used to do this back in the day. And I actually kind of like doing this again. I kind of like not being in the puzzle vault. This is actually the table that I build puzzles on when I'm here in the living room, watching TV with the fam. All right, let me push this all up and pick this up. Country roads. How pretty is that? It's just prettier in a picture. Well, it is a picture, but how cool is that? That's so fun. This one was really fun to make, or to solve, I should say, even with the missing pieces. It's very cool. I'm holding this up just like a fish. And I'll take some good pictures of this. Country roads. And obviously, I love when you can pick a puzzle up. Older puzzles, not always, you can't always do that. Sometimes you can, others you can't. I wouldn't really say this was a placemat puzzle. Like, if you throw this around, eventually it would crumble. Part of that has to do, obviously, with the missing pieces. So, Country Roads puzzle. Very, very fun. The different textures in the trees were just different enough, and the colors were just variant enough to come together fairly easily. This is what I built Thanksgiving morning. Actually, I built this one while all the family were here. And our family, we don't have like a big Thanksgiving feast. We do, my spouse and her family does something called donut morning, where they all, her and her family all get together and they make homemade donuts, which is really fun. I didn't know, that was their thing. They make homemade donuts and watch the parade, and it's really fun. And also too, you too can make donuts at your house fairly easily. Obviously not like the fancy fried ones, but if you take like a boxed cake mix, this is something that I learned. I'm going to share it with you. If you take boxed cake mix, any flavor you want, take that recipe that's on the back. It's usually eggs, oil, water, whatever. Cut that in half. So if it says 3 cups of water, use 1.5 cups. If it says 4 eggs, use 2. Whatever that recipe calls for, cut it in half, every ingredient. And then your batter, you can pour it into, you can get donut-shaped pans or any sort of like even the bottoms of cupcakes. But if you could find some donut-shaped pans, you can get them really easily. Just bake them just like you would cake that says on the box. They make fun little donuts. They're really neat. Anyway, got off tangent there. So I built this that morning while everybody was running around making donuts. And I also got to thinking too about the missing pieces of this puzzle, because this puzzle probably comes from the 50s, or excuse me, late 50s, early 60s. probably early 60s, and there's pieces missing, which means that those pieces are long gone. Who knows where they are? I mean, this thing went from hand to hand to hand to hand. And I think there's some symbolism there, if you think about it, that as we get older, our memories and our traditions and things that we did as a kid and things we do now are so different, not unlike this puzzle where some of the pieces are missing. It's not always complete. I know it seems like a little heavy-handed metaphor, but that's just what I kept coming to when I was looking at this, that, you know what? You could still have a happy time, happy memories, fun experience, even building an old puzzle or a new puzzle. Even if you're missing pieces, that's okay, because it's still pretty and it's still worth looking at. A little heavy-handed, I'll agree, but that's just kind of the thought that I had when I was building this. So, coming back to present day, when I was researching Black Friday and talking about it in our previous episode, I realized that I really hadn't done much Black Friday shopping in the past few years. I either always had something happening, or it wasn't something that was affordable. We live very frugally here at the Janky household. But this year I thought, okay, I've been out of the Black Friday experience for years. Janky Jr. has never experienced it. So decided to got up at like 4:45 in the morning. And I wasn't going to, but my brother kind of pushed me a little bit to do this. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you, brother. So we got up at 4:45 in the morning. I woke up Janky Jr., made him get dressed, and we went out. And we went out to we had no ads in front of us because they really don't print ads anymore. We just kind of went. And the first stop we went to was Walmart. Now, in the years of my Black Friday's experiences, people started lining up at like 10 the night before. They've been out there all night freezing, waiting to get in. We pulled into the parking lot, and there was maybe a couple dozen cars in the parking lot. Again, in years past, the parking lot is full and people are parking out in the street. The cats are having a fun time. I'm sure one of them will pop over here in a second. But it was not much happening, to the fact that him and I sat in the car just waiting until about 10 minutes till the doors were to open at 6, and we were number 2 in line. There was 2 boys in front of us that are probably there to pick up some sort of computer, something or other, or video game controller, who knows. We were second in line, and they opened the doors. We strolled in. Man, there was standing room everywhere. It was funny. It was such an interesting experience, and how different it was. We bumbled around, grabbed a couple, things. He was excited, and Mrs. Janky was pretty excited too, because we found it's sitting over there. Sadly, I'm not going to get up to go get it, but the wheels of Sharpies that they've been putting out every year for decades now, they're still there. That was cool. That was cool to see the little wheels of Sharpies. Yeah, it was fun. And then we were done at Walmart, and we just decided to, hey, let's keep this ball rolling. We went to Target, we went to Best Buy, we went to another Walmart because there's a bunch in our area. Went and got some Dutch Brothers, which is a coffee place here in our area. A fun time and a fun memory. Hopefully one that he remembers for a long time, because he had never experienced that before, and he probably won't ever be able to experience the craziness of Black Friday, because with everything online and just people not spending as much for good reasons, Yeah, the 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 chaos was gone, and that's okay. Honestly, that's all right because you know what? You could still make fun memories. You could still have a fun time, even if pieces of the bigger puzzle are missing. It's still a fun experience. Holy smokes! I tied that metaphor together, and I hadn't even planned on that. Whew. Thank you for going on that journey with me. That was funny. I hadn't planned on that. Um, and just for more for more uh, janky puzzle Joey lore. The other night I did try my hand at some speed puzzling. I got my hands on. I know it's a new puzzle. I'm sorry, but I did get my hands on a Ravensburger. This one is New York, New York postcard. If you like newer puzzles and you're kind of big in the puzzling community, or follow pages like Karen Puzzles or um, some of the other bigger uh, puzzle channels, you know about the World Speed Puzzling Championships or the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships. There's a whole online community where they'll time themselves, and they actually have a big year-end championship in Spain. Anyway, lots of different um, challenges, and you have the singles and doubles, 1,000-piece challenges, 500-piece, and they always release newer, like never before seen puzzles for this event. And this is actually one that was released for, I think, 2024, maybe 2023. I can't remember the year. It does say 2024 on it, so I think it was for the championship for 2023. Anyway, I put this together and I timed myself. And my time was, I put a picture of it on the community page here on YouTube, and my time was 2 hours and 4 minutes for this, which there is an online standing of where people post their times. And I was like, when I looked at where I would have fallen on the thing, I would have been like 1,170th or something. So if I went to Spain and did this, I wouldn't have finished the competition because they usually cut it off about an hour and a half. In fact, the um, uh, the top times on there were like 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So I'm not going to Spain anytime soon unless somebody wants to sponsor me, or if I can jump on someone's team to go to either the United States Championship, which would be a lot of fun, or World. Anyway, that is my seconds, so to speak. My new Black Friday experience this year. And not only, oh, hey, by the way, the Cozy Cup actually has coffee in it. I noticed in that episode, I usually have a Cozy Cup that earlier I would drink coffee out of. By the time I got it, by the time I got everything set up, just how it looked pretty decent, the coffee was empty. So if you could tell, I'm like using the coffee cup as a prop, but there's nothing in it. So there's actually coffee in this. So thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Kind of a little shorter episode this week. I will be, if you have any thoughts or good juju you could send my way, I'm actually going to be having surgery at the end of December. I'm filming this on the last weekend of November, and I'm going to be having surgery on my hand towards the end of December, about a week before Christmas. So any good thoughts or juju would be great. And also, too, I want to remind everybody about the Facebook page, Janky Puzzles. Put a picture right here. There, good stuff is put there. Episodes are put there so you can share them easily with your other socials if you don't want to take it straight from YouTube. You can also direct message me there, and you can also email me at jankypuzzles@gmail.com. I've actually had some really cool people reach out to me, and actually have an episode that something I've never done before, about some emails that I got. People email me um, what they enjoy, and that's the stories that I want to hear. I want to hear your puzzling stories, what you enjoy about them, and what some of your favorite ones are, because that's, I mean, I could talk about the puzzles I like all day long, but what's really exciting to me are the ones that you like. So don't forget to send the juju, and hopefully it's not serious, but it does hurt. So thanks everybody for watching. Remember to do good things, be good people. Put it's probably going to be cold this winter if you live up here in the northern hemisphere. So get yourself a couple puzzles and put them together. Why not? Eh? Thank you so much for watching. Remember to do stuff. Remember to do stuff underneath this. Lets YouTube know that you like what we do. And hey, we passed 250 subscribers. So maybe in 2026 we can hit 500. And if we don't, that's okay. I'm just glad you're here. So thanks everybody. And, come back again, all right? We'll put a puzzle together. Oh, and by the way, in case you were asking, I did get some pumpkin pie. That pie finally thawed, and I was able to have some pumpkin pie. So enjoy those leftovers. Put a puzzle together. Thanks.